We're gonna cut this part out that he doesn't like Dallas.
No, I'll keep it. I will even keep this part when you said we're gonna cut it out. Hi, Alex. So let me introduce this. My good friend Alex. We've been know each other for what, like maybe 7 years. We both came here to just explore, and then we liked the food. We liked how clean it was. No homeless problem, right? I
Yeah.
don't think we've seen not a single homeless.
No. We were driving around and we're counting how many homeless people around, and I think we found like one guy.
One, I think, yeah.
And I remember it was one guy, and cops were like backing him up.
Yeah, I remember that there was no trash, no like peeing and shit under the bridges, no tents, nothing of that.
Yeah.
And it was kind of chill and spacious, I remember. And then we had a nice dinner. It was first time that I really enjoyed Mexican food. Like so usually my experience was like you go to taco truck, you get taco, and okay, it's taco, nothing special. But we went to that restaurant, and it's the first time that I had this restaurant experience for Mexican food that was actually on the level of restaurant.
Yeah. Yeah, they just picked me up from the airport, and then we went for quick the fast food Mexican.
Oh yeah. I think I came here like a day or two earlier.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was very kind of ad hoc. I did the research on different cities, and Dallas came at the top. I never been here before. I didn't really feel the kind of connection with the city. It was like strange and different, but math was saying this is the place. So
yeah. I was at Disney for 7 years for like contracts, project hire, full time. It's all different terms, but all together close to 7 years. And at that time, Disney merged with Fox. Disney acquired, but they had an agreement of what they called merged tech forces, or merged. So basically, because on both sides,
merged workforce,
they merging a lot of engineers, so they decided to cut even amount of people. I think like 1,500 from one side and 1,500 from the other. And I don't know how layoff was happening. They promised it was random, even though,
which makes no sense, right? I mean, why would you do random? You want to keep the best people, and you want to let go underperforming people.
Exactly. This is. I think there was not so much truth in it when they say random. Oh, it was random selection. So my management like swear that they had no idea that's happening. The corporate sent people, and it looked like that. Everybody was shocked when they like all of a sudden in the morning we see a bunch of people from corporate Disney, because we're in Seattle and there are people from California coming in, and like nobody knows what's going on, and then like they start inviting people. They invited my manager first, like TJ
type of thing.
Yeah, they invited TJ
like,
first.
Hey, can I have a word with you?
yeah. So like TJ disappeared. It was our manager. Like, but both myself and Dimitri was at the Disney. So like he first left, and then 30 minutes he's slacking me like, hey dude, can you show up in the room? I'm like, yeah, sure. Like coming in, they're like not a good faces. Like, dude, by the end of the week you're
no
gonna
hard
be gone.
feelings, right?
No hard feelings. Yeah, here's the package, and you can sign it right now. You can sign it 2 days like max. I think they gave me 2 days to think about it.
Think about what?
Do I want to sign and accept the severance package, or I just like accept no severance package and try to like sue them or argue with them and stuff like that. That was like weird.
Okay, so either go away and do whatever you feel like, or go away but you agree not to sue us type of thing.
Yeah, because technically every time you get terminated, you can act legally. You can hire an attorney and say like, I was unlawfully let go, or is like unfairness or anything else.
But if you take that package, you sign.
If you take the package,
that you're not going to do it.
Yeah, they say like, oh, we pay you good amount of money, but you don't have anything against us. Which I don't know. I signed it next day, I think.
How much did they cover? Like 6 months or 3 months?
They paid 3 months. 3 months, like I was still employee for 3 months
So you still on
after
okay.
layoff.
So
So they
you
were
was on
paying me.
payroll and you was
I was
rolling
on the payroll, but
paychecks.
I don't have to show up. So insurances, all the like Disney perks and stuff.
So it makes sense for them because they didn't have to come up with big chunk of cash right away. They
Yeah.
can kind of postpone in small pieces.
And at the end of 3 months, they paid out 6 months worth of pay if I would have been in the company. But at that, like this just was cash amount plus all the unused vacations and stuff.
After 3 months, they would have paid something.
They also paid 6 months.
So you had 9 months.
So technically like 9 months, but 3 of these
okay.
months I was still employee. I could use parks and resorts. I can use insurance.
Interesting. That's
all the
very
resources.
interesting because apparently for them matter to have certain amount of employees on books for 3 months.
Because it was through the end of the year, pretty much. Like I got the notice like it was September, like last day of August, something like that, and pretty much like 3 months through.
Oh yeah, fiscal year.
Like maybe it's, but it's more. Like it looks because my last day was like early December.
But that not necessarily mean they go on the new year. They might actually have fiscal year in December or something like that.
Yeah, but
they might choose.
It was the end of the year was like 21st, and on 21st I was supposed to get the what they call the was it incentive program, when they kind of give you a bond, like give you a fixed amount.
Annual bump? No.
No, they give you like a bonus, but it's vested like 25% every year, and I got like staggered like several bonuses of these. So I was supposed to get at the end of the year, I was supposed to get like 50 grand or something from them, so,
Wow.
which I never
Yeah,
got.
yeah.
So that was a bummer. But yeah, and I think this is the time where I was looking for changes. Dmitry was looking to move as well. So I don't know why did you move? You were pretty good at.
So for me, so my story at the time was that I lived in San Diego and I liked it a lot, honestly. What changed in my life is that I had parents coming over to live in States.
Right, I remember
And
that now.
at that time I picked up new client. So right before that client, my client was in El Segundo, California. So for me, it was a drive in my car, one way, anywhere between 2 and 4 hours to California, to Los Angeles area, like Monday morning, and come back like Thursday or Friday. So that was typical week. But the AT&T was going through their own similar process. They were doing haircuts, and at the time, you might remember like 2000, whatever, 18, 19 was like a dip in the market that I was anticipating for 6 years.
Yeah.
So that finally kind of happened. And by the way, I had a position to play on that thing, and we can maybe cover that later. So, anyways, AT&T stock was tanking, stock market was tanking, and the group was, I think, like 25 people. So they were just keep on expanding it, coaches and advisors and such. And then the market turmoil happened, and AT&T probably scratched their head like, I think we have too many people. So not only they cut full timers, they cut us, group that part of I was, they cut that in half. So a lot of them were new hired people. So just to give you an idea, I interview on Monday. We have a couple rounds of interviews, and yeah, that's it. Thumbs up. Leadership likes you. Our group likes you. You join, and like a week or two later, you already moved maybe even to California because you were somewhere in like Rhode Island. So just easy commute for you. You picked up maybe lease an apartment complex, and then like 2 or 3 weeks later, hey guys, we gotta let you go. So they cut that 25 number to like 12 or 13, and at that time I was with the group for about maybe 2 months. So I was first month, it just kind of get used to. Second month, you kind of start building connections and start to understand like where you're gonna fill in into whole strategy. But yeah, they kept me, and I believe part of the reason could be that I was, realistically speaking, the only technical person on the team. Other were advisors in terms of strategy, agile processes, and things like that, personnel maybe. And I was realistically the only one who could look at the code, look at automation, look at tools, look at environments and other things. So they kept me, and then I would say maybe 2-3 months later, they cut it again in half, and they kept me again, and that happened again. Anyways, at the end of like a year of these type of haircuts, only one of me left from the whole group, and they were trying to get me full time. So I remember senior VP just like, "Hey, so HR might be reaching out to you." I'm like, "Okay, whatever." So I got an email like, "Hey, here's your like login information to log into such and such system to apply for a position." Which position? I didn't plan to. But anyways, yeah, they tried to get me into a full-time role, and I politely rejected. So long story short, I had a new client, which was in DC, literally. And from San Diego to DC is like 6.5 hour flight, if you can have a direct flight. And San Diego airport is not huge. It's kind of the size of Love and it does serve international routes. So domestically speaking, it's probably even less routes than Love. So it was like one flight per day, and maybe not even every single day that flies to the area of DC. DC have 3 airports that can serve you. So twice a week, 6.5 hours, that's like 13 hours. It's the entire basically day. And my new client expected it to be at 9 a.m. on Monday. So you gotta have to come there on Sunday. So yeah, that would basically, I would have no days off.
Yeah.
So I figured I need to be closer to DC, and I knew that it would be hard for me to have like my parents and such situated in California, because I mean, to have 2 extra people who don't bring income, and I really wanted at least one of them to work with package like insurance and medical. Mostly I was care about medical insurance, because if shit goes bad, as we know, and we know, we can talk about this in a bit, but yeah, at least you have limited liability for bills with medical insurance. You might not get paid a lot, but at least you know that whatever happens, you're like at 10K a year, for example, for 2, where it could be other story otherwise. So yeah, I moved here, but before moving, I did quite extensive research on different cities. I built a kind of comparison model for different things: economy, crime, real estate prices. But economy was one of the biggest one, and I really in fast pace picked up that Dallas have tremendous advantage to other cities that were on my list under consideration. By the way, what were the cities? So Seattle, Los Angeles, stay in San Diego was not really a choice, but they're just like a benchmark basically. Then I had Dallas, then I had Charlotte, then I had Miami, and I think Chicago, and Cleveland, just for sake of it. I've been on a road trip
Just to have it in package.
recently, and I've been to Cleveland. Man, it sucks in Cleveland. It's really bad in Cleveland. I think only worse was what I saw personally. I think St. Louis was even worse.
Yeah.
Like St. Louis, it's almost like no shit, just gang type of thing, all day, every day, everywhere. It's like there is no like, oh, upscale area, non-upscale area. Just that's it. Whole city is just shit show. Anyways, we're gonna be hopping too many topics, but to close the loop, I did the comparison. I found the data that I fed into my comparison, and I did kind of indexing, weighted indexing for all these metrics, and Dallas came drastically on top. Second best was like Charlotte, and Miami, I think maybe was number 3. Although my parents obviously would want to be in Florida and to have good weather and ocean, but hey, we need to be reasonable.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a very calculated decision. Again, what I already said, it wasn't really my cup of tea, Dallas, and I think still is not. I don't really have my heart here. So yeah, that's how we end up here.
We're gonna cut this part out that he doesn't like Dallas.
No, I'll keep it. I will even keep this part when you said we're gonna cut it out. I've seen the news And by the way, you didn't know I'm going to ask you this question, but the question is, and I know it's probably close to your area of interest, that Tesla going to have, they deliver their truck. And I think it happened this week.
The actual semi truck.
Yeah, actual semi truck. It was, I think, like Wednesday or Thursday or something this week. And it was either to Walmart or to Amazon. I don't remember.
I think it was Pepsi.
Okay.
Or Coca-Cola, or like one of the beverage company, and the other one I don't remember.
So it was just single truck or was?
No, I think it was. They had a package. I don't remember how many of them. I think it was like 100 trucks for
Contract, right? For 100 trucks?
Yeah, they in total had a contract for a number of trucks and two companies, so they delivered the first few trucks. And
so they actually delivered it like full legit.
I didn't check the news exactly. I really a few days ago I was looking just the overview, what's going on with Tesla. Generally, I check like once a couple of days what's new. For example, like did they drop prices? Did they crank up production? Do they have any issues to deliver cars?
So you must look at it as an enterprise type of analysis.
Yeah, just really high level. And as far as trucks, semi trucks, it really, the topic for me was always controversial from like usability perspective, because we have regulation in states where the truck can only, the total weight of the truck can be only a certain amount. I think it's like 85,000 pounds or so. So some, let's say 80,000 pounds, and the most valuable, like in a lot of trucks, the valuable thing is the load, how much load you can carry. Sometimes, I mean, it's like light load,
so basically
but it takes a lot of
net
space
of your delivery.
Yeah, for example, like I would think the companies that would deliver electronics would be better suited for this kind of trucks, because the electronics may not weigh a lot of pounds.
Yeah.
But for companies like beverage is like extremely heavy for the volume.
But you see, it's full electric, right?
It's full electric.
So remember, like that presentation they did with the Cybertruck, where it was pulling Toyota Tundra or something. So they tried to show how much more potential and performance electrical powertrain have against the combustion engine, right?
Oh yeah, as far as benefits of just the idea of electric truck, of electric vehicle, I mean, it's kind of at this point we're kind of beating the dead horse.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty obvious.
But to your point, I didn't try to sidetrack us, but you was talking about weight, and you was talking about basically net weight of delivery versus not, right? Against that 80,000 mark.
Yeah, my point is the calories of your energy. So when you have diesel has a lot of calories, like for the weight. So each gallon of diesel can produce number of the energy. So energy density.
Work energy.
Yeah, so the energy density of battery is probably a tenth of, like, if not less than diesel.
Mm-hmm.
So now,
I mean, extract it, not just hypothetical. Extract the energy.
Yeah, so when you have a full tank of diesel, let's say it weighs 5,000 pounds on both tanks, and you have a battery that would weigh 5,000 pounds, but how much range can you get out of diesel or versus batteries? So now batteries, it's 1 to 10 ratio. Like, let's say it's 1 to 10 to energy value. So you're basically robbing your ability to have cargo weight.
Yeah, so your range
towards your battery.
So your range drops, right? You can travel as much.
I mean, you cannot have. I mean, you can have 5 miles range to have a really light truck, but it doesn't work, right? So you need to have at least not a 500 or 1,000 miles range. But what's the semi truck range? By the way, Dimitri was a truck driver in the past, so
among other jobs.
So yeah, so you should know, like, what's the fill up range, like 1,000 miles?
So you have two tanks, each of them, I believe, about 300 to 350 gallons, and you are taking about 8 miles per gallon. So you have 700 gallons. So yeah, you can get pretty far.
Yeah, you can get pretty far between fill ups.
So my typical thing, I would know exactly which truck stops to I'm gonna use for fuel, because people might not know, but each state have their own fuel tax, and you might have advantage of filling up completely in one state and then just prolong as much as you can until another beneficial state.
Good state.
Good state. So good states were Montana, was Oregon, and I think North Dakota were pretty good, and the rest were not. Let's say you don't want Illinois, you don't want Washington. Like it would be tremendous difference usually. So on the tank, you would have probably difference like 100 to $100, and that's significant.
And Montana is like all the way north, and Oregon is kind of in the middle of the west line. So it's like really like Dallas would be perfect. Like if you can get like cheap gas in Dallas, cheap diesel.
What happens now? Are you saying that the range is going to be compromised for this type of load significantly?
I think I honestly when I again like I was watching evaluations and just like why people don't feel comfortable, because like for example, if you're not in trucking business and if you're not thinking about it, all the benefits of the truck like paint a great picture. Like, oh, deceleration, you don't have to burn your brakes, you basically just charge your truck. Like,
so this is literally engine brake,
like,
where in other, I mean, normal truck there is engine brake, but it's different type of engine.
yeah, it's engine, you're braking with engine, but you not wasting kinetic energy to your heat, you're charging your batteries back, so you basically like
More
going
efficient,
down the
yep.
hill and you get all like possibly all this energy back. This
And your braking is
excessive-
much better.
Oh yeah,
Because
yeah,
it's a big problem on the truck, right? Especially on icy roads, snowy roads.
yep.
You don't want to lock your brakes. So you use as much as possible engine brake and you go slow speed. Where here you have actual powerful engine brake without spin of wheels.
No, the benefits of electric truck, I think, when you don't have this gearbox of like 18 gears.
Oh yeah,
like
13 usually.
like it depends. Maybe you have automatic transmission.
18 wheels, 13 gears.
18 wheels, 13 gears. Yeah, but even though it can have 6 wheels, what if they're not dualies?
True.
Like I mean, on a
Yeah, I've seen
without
those.
trailer, because 18 it's
Those
with
are
a
very
trailer.
expensive tires, though.
Yeah, 18 with trailer.
Imagine you pop like a couple of them. It's like, okay.
Yeah. No, I think the benefits really, I love the idea of electric semi truck, because like my uncle, like being a truck driver all his whole entire life. Like I had several trips with him, like in the truck as a just co-pilot.
It's cool.
Yeah,
Once or twice.
It's cool once or twice, but it's you see how complicated this whole driving experiences. Like you constantly like on the gear, like you have to have a good distance, otherwise if you need emergency brake, it just, what if you go downhill, all these nightmares of just going downhill, losing brakes, go into this what do they call, like runoff lane. Yeah, it's just like the nightmare of any truck.
And it's not that popular to have those runoff lanes.
Yeah,
I only seen a couple states that have it.
Yeah, and you're listening all these stories of like horror stories, how people losing brakes going downhill, and they know that that's it. It's just pretty much.
I was going to say something.
Ruined truck.
For electrical right now, is it autopilot already or no?
No, I don't think it's like, especially when they were doing showcase for 500 miles run from LA. Is it from like LA to San Diego?
I haven't seen it. No.
They were pulling the fully loaded trailer. So they've done 500 miles on the charge.
Really?
Yeah. So
wow.
and they were presenting. So it wasn't bad at all, but you're definitely losing some of the cargo capacity.
I think what's going to be good, at least initially, I think local delivery going to benefit from this, because
exactly. And I think this is the target for the first rollout.
You don't need to have large range. Usually, those who don't know, deliveries or local deliveries have to be done within a day, because the truck usually don't have a sleeper. So you have to drive and come back home to sleep at home.
Yeah.
Now, what are the problems of local delivery? Bridges, so actual location of places where you're delivering, or your route itself. I mean, obviously navigating and such. tight corners, parked cars, and those are really big deals. And you have light bulbs and stoplights and stuff which you might collide with. If they have autopilot that accounts for all of that, that's it. You have no accidents. You're not gonna hit anything. At the worst, you're gonna stall probably. Like, okay, I cannot make this corner. Or
Yeah.
drivers would be like, okay, I still can make it because I need to be there. Or autopilot would be like, not gonna make it, just impossible mathematically.
Yeah, I don't. I think like autopilot makes a lot of sense, but like autopilot being promised by Elon for the longest time. Like I remember 2017. It's like we're about to launch,
Yep.
city steering. Like we can do the cities on its own, and it's way overestimated. So
But it was delivered, right? Like last year or something.
no, I mean it's still beta. It is beta.
I remember it's a subscription based right now. Is it correct?
Oh, I don't know these details right now.
I think you buy the car,
The
and then
programs
for
you still
upgrade.
can buy. You can like it's gotten much more expensive. It used to be like 8 grand, but then 10 grand to get full self driving. Now it's like 15, so really expensive. And every time has been promised like basically the car is your second biggest investment after your home,
Yeah.
and utilization is 5%. Like it's basically sitting and not doing anything. And the idea was like, hey, while you're working or while your car is not used, it can just do
Deliveries.
robo taxi,
Yeah.
and like basically just bring you money and your investment is working for you. So hey, just pay this 10,000 grand self-driving, because it's gonna get more expensive for sure. Once we roll out the full autonomy, it's gonna be 25 grand. It's
That's
gonna
called
be
level 4, right?
all these levels of autonomy.
Because I have level 3, I believe. And autopilot
I don't know
is
the
level
definitions
4.
of levels, because there's going to be a level that requires personal attention. I think level 5 doesn't need a car doesn't need to have a steering wheel. It can do everything on its own, and it's like really like legit. I think the max is level 4 right now, where you still need a steering
Yeah,
wheel, you
3
still need to pay
is
attention.
you need driver to actually take over when needed. 4 means you don't need him to take over, and maybe what you're saying 5 is what there is no even steering wheel, even possibility of that.
Yeah. And for if we're going back to trucks, so like it's definitely step number one, because there was another truck that was
Yep,
promised,
I
that
remember.
Nikola.
And then I think was still another company like in China,
I'm talking
part
about
of
American.
Weibo or something like that.
Yeah, Nikola got in trouble as like a big scam. But I recently seen the videos from Monroe and Associates, where he actually takes a tour in the factory, and it looks like they're trying to make trucks, but they go on the hydrogen fuel cell route for some of them, and like really small trucks for local delivery, it's like electric.
I think I've seen that.
Yeah,
It was like delivery events, right?
no, it's Rivian. And they're
You're right,
on the
you're
road
right.
right now for a big batch of Rivian delivery vehicles been done for Amazon.
Yeah, I saw that episode on Bloomberg, I think.
Yeah, and they're on the streets right now. I get delivery every day.
So what does it mean? It's electrical,
It's fully electric.
but there is still driver, right? There is no autopilot.
There's driver, but so basically when the driver stopped by, unloaded the package, and I'm like, first time see this truck. I'm like, dude, like, can you give me a second? Can you give me a tour? He's like, oh yeah, for sure. So I walked in. So basically, there are two displays, and everything is heavily integrated to Amazon. So basically, your route is
So
there.
customized, high integration to
It's
Amazon
high integration
delivery.
to Amazon delivery.
Yeah.
So it's like it's
Customized,
basically
basically.
says Amazon delivery vehicle, right? It says Amazon everywhere, and it says powered by Rivian. So I mean, even like how panels are stitched, like the inside is like hexagonal, like the way is like shelves, and how futuristic it is, and the door is automatic. Like you just walk in and out, the sliding doors are really fast, like like walk in and out, so you don't get the heat from the cabin, like the exchange of the temperature, so you get comfortable temperatures in your cabin if it's hot. And quickly look underneath,
Mhm.
and I've seen that it's axle, like the motor up front. So I thought it's front wheel drive, and maybe it's all wheel drive. I don't know. Like I didn't check the rear axle. I was like look underneath, like I see axles.
Is it unexpected for you?
I mean, generally, I don't like front wheel drive vehicles, like especially for cargo van, especially when the vehicle is long. Like to me, it's it's not the best, not the ideal, but I
Why
see
is
how you can lose the cargo. The floor has to be higher because you're counting for the motor and the rear. So maybe on the front package, it's better for delivery. You
yeah,
have like
you want to
much.
maximize the box of delivery,
Yeah, you want to
and
have it.
who cares about the driver?
You want to have it as low as possible. And I think one vehicle right now that it's Ram,
Mhm.
like they have the front wheel drive and everybody hate it. Like people don't like it. It's front wheel drive cargo van. I think that's the only one on the market between like
One more thing that I didn't mention, and for those who have never been in a semi truck, backing up is really big deal, and you can make a lot of problems if you don't do it properly. So if AI, if self autopilot can back up to door
hmm
in between trucks or in between trees or whatever, that would be great because kind of like what Audi have done with self parking, right? Like
yeah.
or Toyota or whatever. Those who pioneered it, you just like hit the button and it parks, parallel parks. If it can back up to the door, a lot of damage can be saved just by doing that.
Yeah, I this whole bit backing up to the door. I mean, maybe I'm over complicating the issue, but to me, it feels like why you have to back up? Like, can you just
Can
like
you
rotate
What
and
helps a lot is when they have enough space and there is a forklift comes to you,
yeah,
just unloads. You get inside, you get it to the entrance, and
yeah.
they forklift and get it from outside. That's ideal, but I would say it happens maybe 5% of the time.
Yeah, like if talking about electric trucks, so Elon stated that it can go. The basically the consumption is 1.7 kilowatt hour per mile. That means if the kilowatt hour of energy, like we normally how you get charged, this per kilowatt hour. So here we have about 11 cents. So let's say roughly let's say 2 kilowatt hours. Let's not optimize. So it's going to be 22 cents per mile.
I'm right now switching to a new provider. My price is gonna be at the end of the markings would be 12.4 to 12.8.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
I think it's very good.
when you go to superchargers, it's never your domestic, it's never your home price. It's always more because they want to get
Okay.
compensated for the
So back to
infrastructure.
your point.
So back to my point, I'm just saying, okay, how much more money you really save on fuel? Like, okay, the
You do or
truck
you do not?
you do. I mean,
Uh-huh.
so basically per mile you pay 22 cents. If you use diesel, let's say diesel is what like $5 per,
Right now it's about 450, I think.
let's say $5, and let's
And
say
you make about 7 miles per gallon.
yeah,
So divide that.
let's say worst
So it's
case
like
scenario 6,
80 cents or something like that
yeah,
per
per mile.
per mile.
hmm
And here you get
22.
22. So even with this efficiency of batteries and whole system, it's already 4 times or so
Yeah,
cheaper.
it can get pretty efficient. Like we're talking about not how much, like 20-30% efficient. We're talking like now
Fold.
folds, like it's
Fourfold.
5
Yeah.
times.
When I was heavily trading stocks and I was kind of had a good pulse on the market. I remember was the news that Warren Buffett buys big stake in Chinese battery company BYD,
Yeah.
and that was like 10 years ago,
hmm
7 years ago, and so that was his hunch or his. I'm not saying he made a decision. I'm saying his team made a decision to be a big part of that new wave.
Yeah.
I think he had a hunch that okay, I think battery going to be a big deal. So that was that far long ago, and we had a lot of advances, right, in battery technology since 10 years ago.
Yeah, really, if you think about it, everything gone battery. Like from something that you wouldn't think of, it's better. Like this little microphone is battery. The phone is running out of like it's using battery. Like you
I'm
used
running
to,
on battery.
yeah, you had like power tools.
Uh-huh.
It used to be like all
Yeah,
cords. And
I love
now
all
everything
cord.
powered
Yeah.
power tools. Your vacuum is battery
Yeah.
powered. I mean, you think about it, like your freaking speakers, like you listening speakers are a battery. Everything, your headphones,
Yeah.
your
Or medical
everything.
devices.
Yeah, those are the
And those run for like
it
years.
shows the trend. So
Yeah.
let's say it's not a problem to fulfill the market with the small batteries because they're just small. They're not using a lot of raw material to produce all these little batteries.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But then now the amount of batteries you're requiring for these large vehicles or power walls, because a lot of homes are going off grid. As you know, you can just buy solar power, buy batteries, and be like never pay for energy anymore. Have
Might even
electric
make
car.
money out of it.
Yeah, have electric car, have batteries home, have batteries on your car, have solar panel. That's it. You never pay for energy. You're now independent from the grid.
Yeah.
So and everybody now understand that we need so much batteries
Yeah.
and so fast that there's no factories that would fulfill all this need like this fast. Like we have shortage of batteries.
I had two questions before we go any further. So first question, how do you see of the possibility of collecting energy from solar using basically the entire casing of the truck trailer, right? Because you have a lot of exposure to sun, you have sidewalls, you have roof.
Mhm.
How much do you think it's going to contribute potentially to get some energy back?
This solar vehicles, it's always a big conversation. It's efficiency. You need for solar energy. You right now it directly transforms to real estate. Like how much real estate you have. Like for example, if you have vehicle, you literally have like little roof and kilowatt hours per square foot and times time how, of the sun
Of charge,
exposure,
yeah.
like how much sun do you really get? You're really negligible. Like it will be enough to run your accessories.
But see, in this case, let's imagine that solar battery technology, the raw materials to build solar panels would be, let's say they aim to zero, right? Hypothetically, they go in towards zero. At some point, it will be no really decision whether or not to even put them. It's going to be just like, yes, they're free. Let's put them, right? How much do you think it's going to contribute? Like 5%,
I think
0.5%?
I think it's just the because you're now mounting it to the vehicle, you have all this
Extra
now
cost.
vehicle extra cost, infrastructure, running wires. What if it breaks? Servicing and stuff like that. I think that we need to have really fast chargers. Like, will you pull up? And was another point that Elon was presenting the charging V4, the supercharging version 4. It's with
already there.
where like the cable, charging cable, and all the like charging cable infrastructure is like water cooled. Like you can charge, like they call it like mega. What is this, like supercharger? So it's like mega chargers or something like that. That's like
Yeah, I remember hearing about
they,
that.
they charging super fast. So what you really want is to have vehicle that can stop in a charger and charge super fast, and where you can have your rest areas that have the superchargers where you stop to sleep overnight, or you just stop there for 20 minutes and you get the full charge real fast.
Where?
So where that area you can have, because a lot of if you've been driving around, you've seen like a lot of rest areas, they're like on empty places, they're in the open, so you can put a lot of solar power there, like solar panels and stuff, instead of having them on the trailer where your trailer might be under the snow, under the tunnel, into the like
Dust.
really inefficient ways where they're really going to be compromised. You can efficiently place them in charging areas where you have like unusable real estate. I mean, you're driving through a lot of states and just like the rest area, and there's like miles and miles of empty fields around.
Somebody was making point. I mean, as we know, there is always this topic of going green, ESG, and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, I don't think, comprehend the idea that sure, okay, we want to be in clean society and clean environment.
Hmm.
And if we compare coal and natural gas energy get from those sources, and we get like comparison to like solar panels or wind, sure, you have clean energy, but if you count how much of square footage of solar panels you need to cover to get as much of energy produced, it's going to be whole valleys covered with solar panels, which could have been just one plant. I'm not even talking about natural gas or coal. Let's put nuclear power plant, right? Which
Yeah.
is still clean, right? It can blow up, which is pretty bad
Mhm.
risk, but it's still tiny, and the amount of materials to build it is X versus entire valleys of California covered with solar panels. Well, guess what? They are not usable really, right? For anything other than solar panels, and how much resources you put in to put those.
Yeah. Oh, there's so many debates about the solar power, because on the other hand, when you think about um, the cars running on gas, it all comes down back to solar, because solar energy fed the
Plants,
plants
yeah.
and animal
Hmm.
to basically to grow, collected, then it's got under the ground,
Transformed into
spend
oil. Yeah,
their
oil, natural
some
gas.
time. Then now we're spending energy to drill, to extract, to basically process, get the gas, get in the car. So basically all these distribution lines, trucks, pipelines, and then you get it in the gas vehicle, and the best vehicle would be like 30% efficient. Like
Yeah,
the average car is like 15% efficient. So basically all the calories of your vehicle, of your gas, just goes into the heating. I think it's more efficient to just take straight up solar and convert it to electric energy and use. But I think there are so many use cases that electric is not implementable. Like I'm thinking of like excavation, like equipment,
which
like when you look at the, like, let's say heavy equipment,
hmm,
tractors, bulldozers, and stuff like that. I mean, I don't see integration there with electric so much, because it just the way they work, they have this 20 gallon of diesel will get them going for the longest time.
yeah, it just the cost benefit model would not work for them.
Yeah, I think we're still like gonna use the oil, but for cars, I mean, I drive Tesla, I drove Chevy Volt, BMW i3 hybrid, Chevy, and stuff like that. So I think electric makes sense right now for vehicles, for cars. For semi trucks, I don't know if the energy density of batteries is there yet, because
But
there's
is there technologies on the horizon?
oh, there is so, I think right now there's so much incentives going on to find the cheapest battery where it does not. Right now, the biggest battle is we have batteries they're using expensive materials like nickel and like
Lithium.
lithium, and everything is kind of scarce. Like, and the actual mining is not clean at all.
You're right.
Yeah, and now, like, can we use some basic materials to create clean batteries that are
And the
cheap
other
and
point,
light?
right, is that when battery goes out of service, to recycle it, it's a lot of pollution as well, right? It's not like like people don't think comprehend that. Yeah, during life cycle of a battery, it's great, it's clean. But what
Hmm.
happens when it loses capacity? Like your iPhone loses capacity in like
Hmm.
5 years, right? It goes from 100% to like 30%. The battery becomes no longer usable, and you
Hmm.
have to recycle it or throw to landfill. It's even worse.
Oh, it's all big. I think that this big problem of what they call e-waste. Like we have so much electronics right now, so much stuff we
Right.
just uh, throw away, and this little like low quality, or technology develops so fast that a lot of electronics get old real fast. Like,
Remember the book we talked about not long ago, The Price of Tomorrow?
yeah,
It's a really good book. Um, the other question I had is you probably heard and researched or formed an opinion on fusion reactors, right?
Oh, yes, man. I don't know. Like I do have hopes for that, and every time you get the great news, like oh, there's a breakthrough, and then like oh, never mind, not a breakthrough.
So
Oh,
where we are right now with that technology, what's your latest understanding?
they haven't been checking for a while because it was a point of time where I was interested, and like several times, it's every time I was hearing good news, it's like oh, never mind, never mind. It's now to me it sounds like oh how you create this infinite engine that just generates its own
I
power and
watched
runs and
I watched a commentary on like Netflix or somewhere. It was actually a guy was in Texas, like around Denton somewhere,
yeah.
like Newman, his was last name or something. He claims he created uh, infinite, how you call it, perpetual engine, right? Like which is indefinite engine,
Hmm.
which produces more power than it takes. And he, throughout the documentary, he even tried to show it, or it was the recordings throughout his career that he was even having been sued for false claiming,
Hmm.
and he was actually bringing the machine in a court and tried to make it work. And I think it may or may not work. I don't remember correctly. It was also a question to him posted like, why you didn't publish your materials? It's such a breakthrough. Why you didn't really care? But it's like, oh, they would kill this technology. It's not profitable, so
Hmm.
corporations would kill it, and I just didn't want to get in the bad hands, type of thing.
Yeah,
But it was a really interesting documentary.
I think realistically is it's the at the end of the day it's this snake oil salesman. It's
Why
always
don't you tell us what it is? Because I don't know.
a snake oil salesman. It basically sells you something that doesn't work, like sells you baloney.
Uh huh.
Like there's the laws of
Dynamics.
thermodynamics that says like the law of conservation of energy. So you cannot produce more energy by spending energy. Like energy, it doesn't disappear and doesn't come from nowhere, it just changes its form.
At the best. Well, it
Yeah,
does.
so
Yes.
and like for
Usable
example,
energy
like this
drops.
water engine, that engine runs on water, so they use like electrolysis. Like for
Electrolysis.
example, if you have a bucket of water, yes, it has oxygen and hydrogen there, and if you like burn them together, it just like creates a lot of
Explosion.
explosion. It's like oh dude, like we have energy now, let's spend energy to separate these two parts.
Separate two passengers in the car.
But what you do, you're spending a kilowatt like let's say you have a kilowatt hour energy to spend to separate those two molecules, and then you separate them, you spend 1 kilowatt hour, and now you connect them back and you get like half a kilowatt. You just like wasted so much energy at that time. Like why doing this if you just can have electric battery straight up.
Mhm.
That's why having a straight up electric battery, it's much more efficient. For example, fuel cell, you know
Mhm.
that fuel cell, you get hydrogen, hydrogen mixes with air,
Mhm.
with oxygen from the air, and go through the fuel cell through the chemical reaction, and the side effect is water
Mhm.
and electric power.
Uh huh.
So basically you need to have have factories that get hydrogen. In order to get hydrogen, you need to like
Extract it.
use like
Yeah.
you need to extract it. You now need to use energy. So basically it's like a hydrogen battery almost. Like it's all like Toyota Mirai, they try to do that, but again, like it's efficiency and the cost of the filling up station so expensive. It's just cost prohibitive. Like the average fuel up station cost about $1 million
Mhm.
to build.
You mean
Where
a gas station?
like a gas station, yeah, but it's so expensive to build because it needs so much
You need to dig, put a
equipment and
tank,
its regulation, putting tanks, how you get hydrogen
and
to the
pay
station.
hazmat drivers to deliver. They're very expensive.
Yeah, yeah. So it's insane. So or you can have a gas station with a bunch of solar panels and just collect this energy and charge cars. I mean, it's just way. Toyota was really stubborn. Like we're
Yeah.
not going electric. No, we're not. Even though they were pioneering like hybrid technologies and electric vehicles in the past.
Yeah, the Prius, right?
I mean, they have Toyota RAV4 electric, fully electric, like 20 years ago.
Hmm.
They had electric cars a long time ago.
Well, they had money 20 years ago. Now they
Yeah.
don't. That's the difference.
But
I
everybody
can
loved
attest
Toyota.
Japan is not doing well.
Yeah. Well, but think about like the Toyota is number one reliable brand, and like it's a lot of Toyotas is built and developed here in the U.S.
Mhm. I
Like
think I've seen this. Yeah, I've seen a plant myself somewhere like southern states.
Texas
Ohio,
built
maybe.
Texas
Well,
built
it's not a southern
Sequoia,
state.
Tundra. They're built in Texas.
I definitely seen Toyota plant somewhere when I was on the road.
No, yeah, I think like Toyota is it's a brand name, but in US it kind of operates under its own corporate, I don't know, like division, like America, like US division.
So I told you we spoke about it, but to tell viewers, when I was in Japan very recently, what I've noticed that a lot of brands that we know are actually names of cities, like Kawasaki and Toyota and um, Yokohama, right? So that was interesting.
It's to me like when you said that, I remember like Toyota is like with the DA, it was like a last name
Yeah,
of the. It's like a family owned.
but if you look at the map, there is Toyota actual city, which is not far from Nagoya, I believe.
Yeah,
Which is good. I mean, so we had a conversation about which one was first, right? The tribute to a brand or a brand taking name to manifest the city.
yeah. Normally stuff comes from the city, like Toyota
Yeah.
Tacoma, let's say. Like Tacoma is the name of the mountain in state of Washington,
Is it?
and yeah.
What was the name right
Well,
here?
Tacoma is the city, Tacoma City
Wow,
in
that's a big
Washington.
difference between mountain and a city.
Yeah, but the city is named after the mountain.
Okay. Well, you skipped one step.
The Rainier is actually.
Look, I'm on a jury duty. You're not gonna skip that, okay?
Yeah. The
Man.
this city named after the mountain that there's Rainier, but it's Tahoma, and so you name stuff after like great cities, after great people,
Yeah.
like Tesla.
And usually, I think you need to ask permission to carry the name of the location for whatever reason. I'm not sure what's the logic there, but I think I remember you need to ask permission from a city or from whoever, country even, to take it in your name.
Did you think Texas asked for permission to name their cities like Italy, Paris, Palestine?
Remember, you told me that joke where, like, the address was, the city was like Paris, the street was like Oklahoma.
No, it's Nevada. It's city, the city of Nevada, state of Texas, city of Nevada, street like Oklahoma. It just like the address is like a bunch of state names.